As I've crept around the globe, I've enjoyed seeing many World Heritage Sites. This is the Mount of Olives overlooking the walls of the Old City, where Jesus made his triumphant entry into Jerusalem riding a donkey, and where Christians believe Jesus ascended into heaven. These are the white stone graves of about 70,000 Jews who believe that when the Messiah arrives on the Day of Judgment, those buried here will rise and will be the first to ascend into heaven. And this is the Potala in Tibet, which had been the government center and residence of the Dalai Lama until the Chinese takeover. Between 1950 and 1970, the Chinese drove away Tibet's spiritual leader and drove 100,000 Tibetans into exile. During those 20 years, 1.2 million Tibetans died, and over 6,000 monasteries were destroyed. This little girl is sitting outside Angkor Wat in Cambodia, the cultural home of the Khmer people. Throughout the country, however, the evidence of war is still everywhere. Pol Pot's horrific rampage in the 70s eliminated nearly a third of its population, including all of the educated, and 2 million Cambodians.
Machu Picchu, the last city of the Incas, was only discovered in 1911. Situated in a thick jungle on top of a remote mountain, this famous Peruvian archaeological site is the remains of an entire Inca community that had been abandoned for centuries.
The pharaohs ruled as early as 5,000 years ago and built many of their massive monuments like the pyramids in Egypt, the planet's oldest attraction. Cheops, the largest pyramid, took 10 years just to level the ground and another 23 years to build the pyramid itself. Each of Cheops' 3 million limestone blocks weighs 2.5 tons apiece, and that's heavier than a minivan.
The ruins of Ephesus in Turkey gives us a peek at what life was like 2,000 years ago in one of the Roman Empire's most magnificent cities.
Bagan is the heart of Myanmar's Buddhism. It's home to thousands of temples. Back in the 11th century, the king began a building program that Marco Polo said was one of the greatest sites in the world.
This is a prominent 16th century Bhutanese monastery called a Dzong. Tucked away deep in the Himalayas, the Kingdom of Bhutan is extraordinary. Imagine a place where there is virtually no pollution, litter, crime, or political problems, where everyone has a job and a home, and where everyone seems to be happy. As I hiked to the end of the long, narrow Sikh in the colorful sandstone at Petra, I found the treasury, the most remarkable of all of Jordan's rock-carved buildings. Nearly 2,000 years ago, the Nabateans dominated the Arabian trade routes and stored their treasures here.
The perfectly symmetrical Taj Mahal in India is a masterpiece in my country. In the mid-1600s, it took 20,000 artisans 22 years to build the Taj. Its white marble is inlaid with semi-precious stones, and its domed mausoleum is flanked by 4 minarets that lean 4 degrees outward so they won't ever fall inward.
St. Basil, the famous cathedral in Moscow's Red Square, is a masterpiece. It was constructed in the 16th century during the reign of Ivan the Terrible. They say Ivan had the workers blinded after the building was completed, so they will not be able to construct anything like it anywhere else.
These colorful tile roofs have overlooked the Adriatic and the old city of Dubrovnik in the former Yugoslavia for centuries. Today, this popular citadel and quaint harbor are rebuilding after years of war.
The heart of Bangkok is the Royal Palace, showing off its wonderful rooftop. Built in 1782, the palace is located in a huge compound loaded with temples.
And I love the vivid colors and unique style of the Japanese shrines in Kyoto.